Hi, I'm Child of Bones, and today we're going to talk about a bit of a rock and roll subject, because we're pretty rock and roll here at Child of Bones. I've been having a few emails lately from different people asking about having sex with gods. And so I thought, well, you know, why not? Let's do a little clip about that. So my thoughts on it are, a couple of the questions were slightly different. So the first thought I have on it is that I think it's completely natural. I think it's just a transmission of energy. There's no need to get too caught up about it. You know, nothing too funky's going on. As long as the vibe that you feel in the connection that you're happy with and you're comfortable, and it's, you know, yielding something for you that feels very satisfactory, although usually having sex with God forms is more than satisfactory. It's usually quite divine and blissful. As long as it's working for you, then of course. I mean, it's a very pagan way of having a transmission. You know, it represents so much primal interchange of energy in a universal way. It's copulation obviously is how the whole universe is maintained in a way. If you think of everything from flowers to seeds to people to animals, you know, everything is about the coming together of union of more than one thing to copulate and to produce. So as far as God forms, seeking out a mortal to have a transmission of energy with, I think, you know, from my side, it's incredibly natural, satisfactory beyond measure, and it can be, you know, a blissful experience, certainly multi-orgasmic. So no, I don't have any concerns about that. I guess it's always going to come back to you, like anything in life. How comfortable do you feel about your path working? How comfortable do you feel about ingesting this food or doing this job or choosing this career? Absolutely everything in life is about how you feel about it, not about what somebody else says. And certainly in magic, I would say, you know, if you're eclectic and you work on your own, certainly you work with your own parameters, you work with how your own vibe feels in any given situation, and you run with that, you run with your own instincts. And yes, you can seek information elsewhere obviously, but it always comes back to you. So, you know, trust in yourself, trust in your own instincts. Never have I heard of a God form harming an individual in a sexual way or pursuing an individual in that way. Anything funky like that going down that you're uncomfortable with, then yeah, I would go with your own instincts and, you know, call on your own protection and kind of cease that kind of connection. So that's not why I wanted to bring up this video clip, was about that gods are running around trying to have sex with mortals, because that's not my experience, and it's certainly not something that I've heard from others either, so that's not it. And the other thing is too, I suppose, which is kind of cute, which was one of the people that wrote into me, and I thought, gosh, I can almost appreciate that myself, which is the interesting thing about alignment, isn't it, that, you know, when you're on a topic or you've had that experience, that you can attract people with similar experiences. But anyway, getting to the point of the question was actually after having sustained highly sexual interaction with a certain god who's known to be quite horny and lusty, what the person asked me, what did I think about how sex was thereafter with a mortal, and this person actually found it was quite disappointing. And I thought, yes, isn't it? Okay, in this situation, I think what you can do proactively, so that you can feel that you're actually soothing yourself back into enjoying sex in the way that's usually most available to us. Okay, so sorry about that interruption, if it just jumped a bit, because my doorbell rang for somebody else's post, which was pretty cool. So anyway, how would we soothe the transition from having sex with a very highly sexed god in a metaphysical way in transmission, and then actually soothing that by re-establishing sex with mortals, fellow mortals, and the person was quite sad actually with the lack of electric connection. And my heart really goes out to them, really, because even though I don't know them, I just think, yeah, I can see how, you know, fitting back in, it's like being in an intense ritual or magical working, or isn't it? Or it's like being in a kind of therapeutic environment magically, or working really intensely with someone and actually getting such good results and then parting. And there's always kind of a slightly dip when you kind of hit back into the grid of ordinary reality for a lot of us, and any altered state of consciousness that was so deeply abiding and fulfilling, to go back to modern day reality with a post rings and you're trying to actually do a video for your own business. It's not even your post. You know, it can be slightly irritating. But anyway, more importantly, back to this email, and I just think, yeah, my heart goes out there, because I see it as like post ritual downer. And I don't think we always have to be on a massive downer, but I can understand, it's really easy to understand the predicament of this. So what I would say, if it was hard to get back into the normal ordinary reality grid, and feel any enthusiasm or joy for copulating with you know, another person, I would call the God, actually, but I wouldn't necessarily call the God to continue with the transmission energetically. I'd call the God and ask for one of their horses. And if they didn't have a horse, then maybe you're more comfortable saying, could you get someone to ride the horse? I would ask for that, because to me, you know, there's so many of us, of different childs of gods, you know, I really, really believe that. There's so many of us about. And, you know, and I'm sure there's different streams for everyone and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying I know how all that works. I know I don't. But I'm just talking about my own experience. And I think that why couldn't a God form manifest one of their own children to rendezvous with you? Why not? Why not do that? So that would be my advice, really. If it was really too hard to go back to ordinary reality, to lock back into the matrix or the grid and feel satisfaction, then I'd call the God that you'd been copulating with and say, you know, can you find me one of your children then? And that's so doable. I mean, if a God's coming to have great sex with you in a multi-orgasmic way, and the whole universe opens up for you, why couldn't they deliver, you know, a son or a daughter to you? I mean, this time, of course, what you get is flowers and dinner, because let's face it, that may have been lacking in the God. Not that any of it's lack when it's divine sex, as we know, for those of us that partake in that. So that's it. So there's no concerns, I don't think, at all. It's always about trusting your own instinct. It's a great way to have transmission. A lot of old gods appear in the energy highly sexual. It's not unlike them to, when they offer a transmission of power or energy or initiation, that it can feel quite sexual. If you are quite relaxed sexually anyway, relaxed not meaning easy, relaxed meaning that you don't have a lot of hang-ups about your sex and sexuality, it's not uncommon, especially with old gods, that the transmission of power will come in quite a sexual way, whether that is actually having what appears in your experience as literally having sex with a god in a dream state or meditation, or even having a horse and you see the god transfigure onto your lover's face is another way, not so uncommon. And of course the other thing is, though, not saying that someone's got a hang up, but maybe they've been brought up in the church or something quite structured, so the way they perceive a God form in an initiation or a transmission of energy may be quite different from sexual. You know, it may be something that's where something's given to them, like a potion from the god, or something they've ingested, you know, orally, or something like that, or they're just overshadowed and they feel something absorb in. I mean, we're all so different, and this is why it's great to share experiences. And so I hope that helps. I know it's only brief, and yeah, that's it really. You know, there's a lot of great things about having a lot of sexual energy with gods, and that can be so, in a primal way, so fulfilling and so sustainable. And I also think that there's something really rewarding about that path working, and of course it opens up all your channels and you can feel at one with the universe, and also it's just so primal. It's so primal to have that kind of deep spiritual union. So, you know, I'm all for it. I think there's a lot of benefits to it, and that's about all I've got to say today. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.